Senator, thank you for your time this morning.
Well, good morning. It's good to be with you.
So I know as you have been watching this from Austin, Senator, you are from Washington. You have been watching what's been going on in Austin. So I just wanted to get your thoughts, obviously, leading up to this and then what we saw happen in the wee hours of this morning.
Well, this has been a horrific time, a harrowing time for Texans. As we've seen terrorism striking Texas, bombs throughout Austin and in San Antonio as well. And first of all, I will say Texans across the state, Americans across the country have been lifting up in prayer the residents of Austin. I know There's been a lot of fear. But there also has been an incredible coordinated law enforcement effort. I spoke to the mayor of Austin. I spoke to the chief of police in Austin, and they had all their resources focusing on catching this individual. And then on the federal side, there were over 500 federal agents that were assisting in the effort, and so it really was a strong and effective law enforcement operation to stop this madman.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Interim Chief Manley ought to have the interim taken off his name because he did a phenomenal job helping to coordinate not only what was going on in Austin, but we here in San Antonio we sent up some bomb experts. We had the package that exploded right here in Schertz just 2 nights ago, and so we have this has been coordinated not only with local but also the authorities in San Antonio and authorities, as you just said, across the state and nationwide with FBI and ATF in there. And it looks like, according to them, they got their man last night or this morning.
Well, it certainly appears to be the case. We're obviously going to refrain from rushing to judgment, but the law enforcement believes they identified the man responsible for the bombing, and the fact that he detonated a bomb in the car is pretty compelling indication, but it's going to take more investigation to make sure, number one, this is the individual responsible for all 5 of these bombs, and number 2, that he acted alone, that he didn't have accomplices, and then number 3, to understand why he was doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was clearly terrorism, but what his motivation was, we don't know right now. I'm sure we will in the coming days, and all of those are going to be important questions to ask and answer.
Our guest is Senator Ted Cruz. He joins me on a fairly regular basis. Trey Ware here on 550 KTSA FM 107.1. I want to kind of pivot to something else because I know that this week in Washington there's a whole lot going on. As a matter of fact, I want to talk about the spending bill. You want to dive off in that real quick because I know we're facing a government shutdown on Friday night if there's not something done, and I know this frustrates you too, Senator. But $1.3 trillion spending bill that's going to be discussed this week or is being discussed this week. Is there any end to this, and how do we turn this back? I know you are extremely conservative as I am. So how do we do this now? Where do we go from here?
Well, unfortunately, what we're seeing playing out this week is really a broken process. So the omnibus bill is drafted behind closed doors by Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer, and it is the two of them together who write the entire thing. The remaining members of the Senate have no idea what's in it, and it is sprung upon us as a finished package and given a choice of an up-down vote. And that's one of the reasons why you get, why government keeps growing and growing and growing, because they face everyone with choices designed to just pressure everyone to vote into whatever McConnell and Schumer agreed to. And I think there's a lot of frustration among the Republican conference for this process and the fact that in all likelihood, it will be presented with no opportunity for amendments and simply as an up-down vote. And what that's going to mean is it's going to have an enormous amount of spending, including on a bunch of pet projects of lawmakers that were snuck in the dead of night. And,
right.
And that all of that is very likely to be there.
And that is super frustrating, isn't it? Because we look at now, we're at $21 trillion in debt. That number just continues to go up. Even when we take a look at how positive things are with the tax cut doing what it's done, deregulation doing what it is doing right now, the positive responses that we've seen in the credit markets and what have you from all of that, everything seems to be going in such a positive direction there. But we're really going to have to try to find a way to get this debt under control and deal also with the entitlements. When we have 67% of people in America not saving for retirement, we have a retirement crisis headed our way.
There's no doubt, and we've got to have Washington get serious about the debt crisis. I mean, when George W. Bush was elected president, our national debt was $5 trillion. Mm-hmm. When he left office, it was 10. Right. So it doubled during 8 years of a Republican president. When Obama entered office, it was $10 trillion. When he left, it was $20 trillion.
Right.
It doubled again. So in just 16 years, in just two presidents' terms, we quadrupled the national debt. Now that's debt that your kids and my kids are going to pay, and their kids and their kids.
Right.
And it is now larger than our GDP. That's not sustainable. And the ways to address it, I will say, we have taken some important steps to addressing the debt already in the first year.
Right.
And those steps are the most powerful tool for turning around the national debt is economic growth.
Right.
Part of the reason we saw the debt go from $10 trillion to $20 trillion under Obama is that we were stuck with stagnant economic growth of 1% and 2% a year.
Exactly.
And at that level growth, you can't pay down the debt. It's like the economy moving with anvils hanging on it.
You're trapped.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Last year, Republican majorities in Congress worked together with the president doing two very important things. Number one, a major tax cut that benefits small businesses, farmers, ranchers, job producers, benefits working families. And then two, regulatory reform. Just about every federal agency has been reducing the burdens on small businesses and job creators. And we're already seeing significantly increased economic growth,
right,
which in turn results in substantially more federal revenue to pay down the debt. And so growth is a powerful piece of it. We still need to do more. We need to rein in the spending. We need a balanced budget amendment. And what we really need is term limits, which I'm the author of the term limits amendment in the Senate, and continue to press for us to take that up and vote on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Senator, I'm going to let you go. We got to get back on this story about what's been going on in Austin overnight. I do appreciate your time. I look forward to having you back on very, very soon, sir.
Thank you, my friend. God bless.